Hello everyone, this 2-minute book review is on the Man Booker Prize winning novel The Sellout by Paul Beatty, and I was pretty excited about reading this as this was being promoted as a incisive, razor-sharp, biting satire on race, racism and the legacy of slavery in the USA. All really pertinent topics, and a lot of commentary had been made on the style of writing that Paul Beatty had employed. So this was really dynamic stuff, really innovative writing, bold and fearless, and I was like, yes. And indeed, actually, one of the quotes on the cover really had me going. It was from the New York Times, and it said that the first 100 pages of this novel was the best 100 pages of an American novel I'd read in the best part of a decade. And that is absolutely true. The only problem I have with that is that unfortunately this book is 250 pages long, and I can't really sit here and say that all the promise and brilliance of the first 100 pages is carried on through the rest of the book. And really by the end I was finding it dry and a real ordeal, and that really hurts me to say that. In it we follow the narrator. He is a man who's being sued at the Supreme Court of the USA for bringing back segregation in his hometown of Dickens in California and for keeping a slave. What follows from the start is a flashback through the narrator's life, through a very harrowing and traumatic upbringing with his aggressive, abusive father, where he was homeschooled with some very questionable notions and education, and how he then progresses as an adult after his father is killed by the police, through his very warped and unbalanced and unhealthy relationships with people around him, including taking a slave in one of his neighbors who voluntarily requests to be a slave, and his very attachment disorder-esque relationships with women nearby. The problem is the other 150 pages, although they're well written, they meander away from this central path of race and racism. So we have great sections on castrating bulls or growing citrus fruit. We end up meandering into subplots for great periods of time, and none of this reflects on the central character. We don't really get to know the narrator, of him as an adult. And although academically you can understand the theory of this pursuit to bring back segregation, there's no real emotion. It's all head over heart, and we don't really get to understand the motivations and the trauma that the narrator feels from really feeling the burden to bring back segregation and his rationale for it. So really by the end I was almost relieved to finish the book, although it does have a very good last 5-10 pages. The writing is technically brilliant. It's an incisive and really great observation of pop culture, blackness, white supremacy, and all of this really good stuff. But the heart isn't there, the character isn't there. There's too much time spent on his romantic entanglements with these various women. So much really isn't pushed through. The narrative drive really isn't there that would really make you want to care and keep page turning to the end. I can understand why this book won the Man Booker Prize, because the idea is so good. But having read a few of the books now on the Man Booker Prize winner shortlist, I would probably argue that there are better, more complete, well-rounded books that could have won this. I felt this is one of those books where the idea was far better than the result, and that really hurts me to say that. So yes, the best first 100 pages you're going to read in an American novel in the best part of a decade. But you better toughen up for the last 150 pages. The Sellout by Paul Beatty.